I am back. Let's see if Trigger and Kelazhur are ready. Oh, they are so ready. They vetoed and everything. What are you guys voting for? I know it's only been open for a couple of minutes. 400k versus 400k. It's awfully close again. Is this God tier matchmaking or what? Alright, Trigger says he's ready. I'm ready. And then we can just go ahead and hop on into it. We are actually an hour behind schedule. That's pretty wild. We started at 6 and it's now 10. It's been 4 hours of pretty much non-stop games. Couple of tiny breaks in between, but yeah, it just goes to show that we had some good StarCraft tonight. And it's time for our main event of the evening. Main event means biggest prize purse, obviously $150 for the winner of the best of 5, $50 for the loser. It's a rematch. These two played against each other, give or take, 5 weeks ago. It was the third series of the night back then, and it was honestly a banger of a series. Trigger was kind of dead in the first 2 games, lost 2-0, brought it back to game 5, was winning game 5. In the end, Kelazhur clutched it out, but it really was a highlight series. I was like, you know what, if it's that good, let's just do it again, and let's make it a main event. And on top of that, this man showed us that his PvT is very good. He had a 3-0 over Battle B, he had a 3-0 over Vindicta very recently. So I was like, alright, let's just do it one more time.
Let's get it on.
Round 1, fight!
In the top right side, in his first ever, by the way, appearance in a main event. I have given him quite a few opportunities on the Friday night, but this is the first ever main event for him. We are looking at the main base of our Canadian Protoss player, representing Basilisk themselves. This is Trigger. And in the bottom left side, we are looking at the main base of the man who lives in the Netherlands, grew up in America, was born in Brazil, spent a lot of time in Asia, and is currently playing these games from Bulgaria. I wish I was making any of that up, but I'm not. A true citizen of the world. Team Liquid's Kelazhur. Kelazhur is opening things up, guys, with an EV block. As I am going to open up my Arizona green tea. Because I want to drink a little bit of Arizona. A proper night of video gaming. And what feels like is going to be the start of a pretty epic week of StarCraft 2. Not just on this channel, but on all the channels. WTL qualifiers will continue on Monday. Of course, Monday night we have a weekly. And next Friday, guys, we may have something big for y'all. But more news about that soon, TM. Is Arizona still 99 cents over there? No. I don't know what it costs, but it's a little... Well, I think it's like 2 for $3. So I guess 150? Something like that. Probe does go down. I guess probes do bleed, right?
First blood.
First blood it is. It's a quick factory on the side of Kelazhur with a very defensive CC. Trigger has been playing a lot of PvT lately. I feel like he is pretty on point at the moment. I also know that once in a blue moon he opens Sentry. And I'm sure some of the big Gabe fans out there will know how Gabe feels about the Sentry first. But Trigger is not going Sentry first here. He's just adapt into Stalker, into Twilight Council. It's a very solid way. If you're confident in your PvT, you can always open up like this. Okay, that is actually a bit painful. Ooh, I love the shade. I was about to say losing a second probe and seeing the Reaper escape. That's actually painful and that's damage you don't want to take. But Trigger was paying attention and immediately shaded the adapt to the bottom of that ramp. So sure, losing an extra probe, not great, but at least he got the Reaper kill. Kelazhur is opening up double mine. And does not know yet about the Twilight Council, guys. So, as a Reaper opening, obviously you're going to be very happy with 2 probe kills. You're not going to be very happy with not knowing what you play against. And based on this Widowmine positioning... Wait, the Widowmine killed the Adept, okay. Based on that Widowmine positioning, I have the feeling that Kelazhur thought that this is a Stargate opening. Because this is kind of where you want to put your first Widowmine in case it is an Oracle flying to the other side of the map, right? Hello, hello, Daniel. I don't think I'll be doing any F1 on stream today, mate. But maybe by the time that I'm done with this stream, I will have some dinner. Because I want to have food at a reasonable hour. I'm very hungry. It's been a long day for me. Maybe after that, mate, I'll be hanging out in the Discord. And I can play some F1 with you. And anybody else who wants to play. But I probably won't be streaming it. Maybe I will be streaming it. We'll see. We've got our mine drop showing up in the natural. And that first mine... Oh, yeah. This is annoying for Trigger, guys. Because there's a mine drop in the main base as well. Oh, no, 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 no. That's going to hurt. Oh, okay. It could have been worse. But this is still a lot of damage. It's 4 probes. And what is even more worrisome for Trigger is that the medevac is still alive. It's incredibly healthy. And 2 out of 3 Widow mines are still alive. So it's basically only losing 1 mine to get 4 probes. It's just very solid for Terran. A reasonable hour? Yeah, not totally reasonable, I know. But it's a lot more reasonable than if I would stay live and then play F1. And suddenly I'm having dinner at 2 or 3 a.m., you know. That would be a lot more unreasonable. I guess even midnight dinner is a tiny bit unreasonable. I'd say overall very solid start here for Diego. Kelazhur in game 1. As he drops the auto turret as well. Gets the observer. Raven won't die. Sure takes a bit of damage. But that Stalker actually still took a lot of damage. Auto turrets are busto. As Coco would say. I'm a bit concerned here for Trigger, guys. I feel like this is not the start that you're looking for as a Protoss. He does have 4 gases up and running. That's promising. First Colossus on the way. 3 base. It's definitely not like, oh, what a disaster. There's no way for Trigger to win. But it just feels that a lot of the little skirmishes have gone in favor of our Terran so far. And it's hard to imagine that Kelazhur is not happy with how this game has gone. Yeah, actually, one of my mates, I think, went yesterday to a full racing cafe in the Netherlands. He invited me and I forgot to respond. I don't think I could have made it yesterday because I had Raynor coming over. And a nice dinner with Raynor and Victoria last night. So we couldn't, I couldn't really leave as the Widowmine drop has shown up again. But even though the traditional game cafes in the Netherlands are dead, they do have some of these full-on racing sim setups. And that seems to be somewhat popular. Trigger bleeding out a couple Stalkers as well. At least didn't lose too much against the Widowmine drop. But now the auto turrets are going down in the 3rd base as well. It just feels that Kelazhur is everywhere he needs to be. And Trigger just kind of feels one step behind, right? It's just every little skirmish so far is working out in favor of Kelazhur. Maybe Trigger can finally get a little W here by trying to get the tank. But not even the tank will fall. Instead the 2 Stalkers will die. And it's just been a very rough game so far for our Canadian Protoss player, who's still in it. With 2 Colossus and a shield battery, there is a chance, as he still has a lot of gateway units here. Blinks forward, gets a couple of Marauders, gets a tank. That's a very good hold. Well, for how this game has gone, guys, that was a surprisingly good fight on the side of Trigger, who seems to not be done yet. He's not totally satisfied. He wants more. And guys, this could actually be a big moment. With the tank not seized up yet. Oh, Widow Mines. One of them fires. The other one does not fire. Gets a really good shot off on the Stalkers. The bio is so low in HP. Imagine if that tank is not here. Then the Colossus could potentially get a cancel on the 3rd base. And it feels that Trigger knows. Yeah, Trigger knows, but just can't quite continue pushing. Another big problem here, guys, is that we don't have a forge. This game has obviously just not been flawless, right? It's been a bit bumping and bruising across the way, as Raven still being annoying in the top right side of the map. No forge. Kind of feels that you're immediately on the... Whoa, okay. Oh my goodness, Kelazhur could get punished there, guys. There's an observer that sees all 4 medevacs loading up, and that opens the door for this Protoss army to get a fight way better than Trigger was ever allowed to dream of. Is this actually... Are we, guys? Yes, no, maybe? Is this the moment that our Canadian Protoss full sense it and actually gets the Colossus swipes off? Wow, what an MVP observer there. Obviously, it was not necessary for Kelazhur to load up 4 medevacs there, but hey. Why would Trigger care about that? You will just keep on going. There are a lot of Marauders in the mix here though. And even the Raven has made it home. Can the Stalker's gun down the Vikings? One Viking falls. Second Viking falls. 4 Colossus with thermal lens. And just like that, I almost want to say against all odds, our man from Canada takes the 1-0 lead with an attack that was honestly pretty all in, right? No forts, no Templar archives, no 4 bases. That observer literally won the game. That observer literally just won the game. As we now swap over to the American server. Game 1 was played on Europe. I'm okay with doing one game on NA, but since Kelazhur is not in the Netherlands at the moment, but he's in Bulgaria, I actually think Europe server is pretty fair. I guess they decided this without me. I'll double check to see if Diego is still in Bulgaria or not. Because, like, of course, from the Netherlands, I think it would only be fair if we go back and forth, or maybe even everything on East. But Bulgaria is not quite the Netherlands. So, I'll send him a message. Yo. We're gonna see. I'm just gonna send Kelazhur a message. Okay, 125. I guess that's somewhat fair. What would Trigger get from Canada and Europe? I guess it's around 80. So I guess we can go back and forth. We need Indy. We need Indy. We need Indy. Where's Indy? Yeah, I think Indy is still in Europe. Romania's top 4 fastest in the internet in the world. The other day, I actually had somebody co-casting the opening series of the weekly with me. And he said he was in Lithuania. And he said that they had the best internet in Europe or in the world. I feel like I hear this often. It's like Sweden has the best internet. Lithuania has the best internet. Korea has the best internet. Yeah, it was LTU Hunter. Where is Indy? Top 5. You can Google it. I believe you, mate. It's just that I hear about a lot of nations having the best internet. Okay, I'm just gonna go and hop over to Indy's stream, guys, for a split second. I think he is probably confused. Yo. Hopefully he sees that. Okay, he's in. Alright, game 2 will be played on Babylon. Trigger versus Kelazhur. Main event. First ever main event for both of these guys. Kelazhur played, I think, 3 times earlier. He lost 3-0 against Elaser. He beat Trigger 3-2. And he beat Gerald 3-0. But none of those were main event. This is first time ever main event for Kelazhur too. So it's kind of cool, right? After 22 weeks. Have 2 guys play in the main event for the first time. That obviously have had some pretty damn good results on the Friday night.
Round 2. Fight!
It was almost like history was repeating itself, where not a whole lot of things went well in the first game when these 2 were playing against each other. But unlike last time, this time around, this man found a win condition. He had no forges, no fort base, no Templar archives. But what he did have was the MVP observer of the day. And he saw an opening the moment Kelazhur loaded up 4 medevacs. Representing Basilisk, this is Trigger. In the bottom right side, we are looking at the main base of the man who's got 2 wins and 1 loss on the Friday night. But that 1 loss was actually at the very first edition of the Big Brain Bout. So in the last 21 editions, he's only lost twice. Representing Team Liquid, playing these games from Bulgaria, this is Kelazhur. A.k.a. Diego, a.k.a. Kalagad, a.k.a. Citizen of the World. Wingen says that this is one of his favorite Big Brain Bouts. I think honestly when it came to the excitement of games, I'm gonna agree with you. It's very hard to say if it was the best, right? Because we've been here many Fridays at this point. And there were definitely a couple of excellent ones. I will Never forget the one where we had Iba Holy hit. It felt like almost every single series that night was a banger. But today has been very exciting too. A 3-2, a 3-1, a 3-1 with a lot of 20+ minute games. So, definitely somewhat sloppy from time to time. I don't want to say that like players have performed out of this world. But it's all been very close and competitive, that's for sure. Last week was really fun. Yeah, last week with Jumi and Lambo. Jumi and Lambo co-main. That was actually... I felt like last week our main event was a bit one-sided though, right? Was it Clem Showtime, the 3-0? Yeah. I mean, I guess at least that first game on Babylon was sick. With Clem's crazy army control in the bottom side. Yeah, last week was very good, but 3-0 main event is never what dreams are made of. It's kind of like when you stay up till 6 a.m. to watch the UFC in Europe, and then the main event ends 45 seconds in with a submission. You're like, well, it was a good night, but I was hoping for a little more. Kelazhur, however, guys, is going for the build that literally never loses. Even though this is a slightly weaker version of the build that never loses. It's a barracks into CC, into factory, or barracks into... Yeah, no, it's just CC, factory, and then 2 more barracks. No bunker here yet, though, so this actually means that with the shade, Trigger can give himself high ground, and the Stalker micro is on point. Now you don't want to derp, and until the Cyclone is out, guys, there is actually some potential here for the Stalker. Because no bunker obviously means that the Stalker can get a couple of shots off. Okay, I don't think that was on purpose. I think that was a mistake, to be completely honest. Now we let the Adept Shade finish up, and now we lose our ability to get high ground vision. Second Stalker to the other side of the map. This is cute, but we have to be careful. One of our Stalkers is low on HP. It's going to be 6 Marines, and the Cyclone comes out soon. I don't know about this Trigger. I've done this many times myself, mate, but sometimes you just need to be happy with what you accomplished and go home. Last week UFC was amazing. What was last week? With Gaethje? Was our main event. Leon Edward, yeah. It was good. I would not say amazing. Why the 2 minutes of ads? Because we run 4 minutes of ads per hour. I don't think that's a crazy amount. It was literally the lowest of the 3 ads incentive offers I had. And if the first game is long or there is a bit of downtime before starting a game, if I don't run those 2 minutes, then it can get a bit dicey. And then it could happen 12 minutes into the game and then you guys get upset. So sometimes we run it after game 1 to be safe. Also, Roddy, you gamers, 6 a.m. is the time you woke up at, not stay up till. Sometimes, mate, I pretend I'm still in my early 20s and I can stay up till 6 a.m. And then I need 2 days to recover, but it's all good. You stream with low quality, Roddy? Extremely low quality, mate. Graphics on low, 1000 bitrate, no audio. Those are the streaming settings I use. I also have a Logitech C920 webcam, and I use a Blue Yeti as a microphone. It's the best I can do. $260p, of course. 1000 bitrate, 260p. Blue Yeti, C920, the dream setup, baby. Nice Cyclone micro here, by the way, by Kelazhur. Look at this Cyclone. It's just hovering around 1 HP. Stim is done, guys. This attack packs a punch. And until you have a Colossus out, this obviously gets pretty dicey. That shield battery on the low ground was just a split second too late. It feels like this entire army can get soloed by a couple of Stalkers, but it's so hard for these Stalkers to get in range. Kelazhur now knows that the next time he stims, literally everything will get one-shotted. That observer is super nice. It allows the Stalkers to still get in range. Do a little bit of that Blink Stalker micro in the end. How many Stalkers went down? 4 in total in this game. But against 21 Marines, 2 Marauders and a Cyclone. Not that bad. Once more, we've got 3 bases. We've got Colossus on the way. That could have gone a whole lot worse for our Canadian Protoss. Obviously, if that battery was a bit early, it could have also gone a whole lot better. Yeah, those are the tiny details. How did I get the muffle? It came with a special re-released Blue Yeti. They decided to do it all over again. It's the same microphone, but they released it again 10 years later, and now it comes with a nice little muffle. Huh? I have all the alerts disabled in the middle of the game, so if I miss anything, guys, that is because I'm focusing on the game, and I don't want you guys to have a bunch of random sound effects of me trying to make a living. So if you sub or resub, it will always show up in between games, not during games. Marines and Marauders sim forward in range. They grab a pylon, but Trigger has more than enough units here, as this Widowmine gets a juicy hit off too on the Stalkers, right in the middle of all of it. We are queuing up a War Prism. But why are we making a Prism after 2 Colossus? I feel like if we want to be aggressive, we don't make a Prism after 2 Colossus. But it also does not really scream like we want to send that Prism into the main base. And again, Trigger has not been building too many probes over the last 2 minutes. So the 3 Colossus attack became a 2 Colossus attack. There are no armor upgrades again. We do have a couple of sentries in the mix. And Diego has no idea about his army moving out. But he looks at it and he's like, I am not impressed. I think my bio units can fight this. A lot of the Widowmines were not quite burrowed though. Look at the Guardian Shield, man. Really putting in some work there. Soaking up a lot of fire. And at this point, Kelazhur needs to buy some time, guys. He is going to be in trouble. These SCVs, I think we need to evacuate it. We need Vikings here. We do really, really, really need Vikings. Trigger is playing a very all-in committed style here. But hey, if it works, why not? Marauders are going to steam. There are a bunch of Zealots this time around with Charge in the mix. Would not hate another Guardian Shield. We go for Force Fields instead. The Armory gets cancelled there. The Vikings are in the mix, but it's only 2 Vikings. Going to be very hard for 2 Vikings to gun down this many Colossus. It's +1 bio, but obviously the force fields are a problem. A few more bios get zoned away, the Vikings will fall. And 2 Vikings falling while all 3 Colossus are still alive. That, my friends, is a problem for every Terran. Even if the bio has 1-1 and Protoss is 0-0, War Prism is safe in the back. Marauders just cannot make their way through the force fields. Medevacs are out of position, and just like that, it's our man from Canada who gets the 2-0 lead with 2 very similar builds. And he's like, alright, with the way that you open, if your first attack does not kill me, he probably feels that there is a real opening for this Colossus Gateway. Blink, Charge, no Forge, no Archons, just Colossus Gateway Sentry. Obviously, it really sucked for Kelazhur that he was moving out. He was a little bit out of position, right? Because now all the Widowmines were not burrowed. We had 0 bunkers. Like, I think a single bunker can actually buy a lot of time there. Because Stalker, Colossus, like, it's not fantastic to gun down bunkers. So we now go back to Europe, by the way. But yeah, I think the biggest problem is just, as a Terran, you need to realize that this is happening. That your opponent is not going up to 65 probes, 70 probes, Forge, 4 base, Templar Archives. If you see that it's 3 base, Protoss, Ghetto Economy, no additional tech, you just need to get a couple of Vikings out as quickly as possible. Obviously, if you guys have missed any of the games or you missed any of the games of previous weeks, there is a YouTube channel where you guys can watch all of it back. I am going to take a look at this covers it. Yes. If you do !Basilisk in the chat, guys, there's a link to their Twitter. There is also a link to the YouTube channel. And there you guys can watch any of the games back that you've missed over all the previous weeks. And we've had a couple of absolute crackers in there. Think of Clem Serral. Think of Rainer Serral. Think of Clem Rainer. Been a lot of good ones. It's kind of time that we invite Gabe again, though. Obviously, Max Pax has played plenty of times. I kind of feel like it is time that we invite Gabe again. I'd like to see some Gabe.
Round 3.
Fight.
Bottom right side of Neo Humanity. Game 1. Honestly, kind of got lucky with the... Well, didn't get lucky with the Observer, but Kelazhur kind of handed that game to him on a platter. But in Game 2, this man forced his own luck. And I think it was a well-deserved victory in the end. For the first time ever in the main event on a Friday evening. And so far, he is passing the test with flying colors. Representing Basilisk, this is Trigger. Yes, Unique. He has always been a Protoss. Trigger actually started playing very late. He is not one of these guys that's been around for like 8 years and slowly but steady got better. I think he started playing StarCraft at like the start of Corona or something. And then within a year he got Grandmaster League. And then within another year he started qualifying for DreamHack. So he has only been playing for, let's say, 3.5 to 4 years or something. It's pretty sick how good he is. I mean, I know it's a very long time, right? Normally, if you do something for 3 or 4 years, people will say that that's a long time. But in StarCraft 2 standards, in a weird way, it still feels that his rise to the upper echelons of the foreign scene has been rather quick. Yes, Moja. As soon as my stream is over, and I will go ahead and host somebody, as we do every single stream, because it's nice to share the love, the VOD will be made public, of course. In the top left side of Neo Humanity, we are looking at the main base of the man that is representing Team Liquid. He is down 0-2, but he was also... No, that doesn't really make any sense. I want to say last time around he took the 2-0 lead, and it still became a 5-game series. This time around he's down 0-2. Can we turn things around? Playing from Bulgaria. Looking at the main base of Team Liquid's Kelazhur. Hard to say, Big Cheese, because people kind of come and go, and there are a couple of people in the European scene that are still incredibly good, but they just don't play a whole lot. Like, you think of a guy like Drogo, for instance. We invited him to one of the Big Brain Bouts quite a few weeks ago, but you don't really see Drogo participate a whole lot at the moment, but he's still damn good. And you're not going to have a fun time if you play a best of 3 or best of 5 against him. You think of the Spanish guys like Lucifron and Vortex. If those guys play for 2 weeks, they will also still be close to pro level. They will obviously not win a tournament, right? They won't defeat Clem or MaxPax, but when it comes to breaking into the top 20, there's quite a few guys out there that have just played this game so much and reached such a high level that they will still be fine. It is once more Twilight Council Blink on the way as we are warping in a Robo 2. Obviously, it's an exciting week next week for Trigger 2, continuing his journey in the WTL together with Rainer, Saru, and Ruddy. On Monday, guys, it will all continue, our team tournament. And I, for one, am excited and looking forward to it. Seems that we're going to try to go up to 3 bases over here at the 6 o'clock. This is the base that I like to take as well. But you see a lot of people in PvP, PvT, and PvZ actually take this as the 3rd base. And they don't mine out the gold at all. Oh, gold. Gold mineral patches. We're setting up with a different build order here for Kelazhur. It's not the 1 barracks into factory into 2 more barracks. It is a proper 1-1-1 setup with now 2 extra barracks going up in the main base. Kelazhur has a mine drop. There are a couple stalkers waiting for it. Good unit placement there by our Canadian. Does it start at 10 a.m.? I thought it would start at 1 p.m. 10 a.m. is very early. I'll take a look at Liquipedia after this. As the Reaper gets a probe kill, by the way, guys. It's not a lot, but it's honest work. Medevac tried to avoid the stalkers on the right side. I kind of feel, guys, if Kelazhur would have just gone for it the very first time, he would have been fine, because Blink wasn't done yet. Now you can't do it anymore, because Blink is done, and the stalkers will always get the required amount of shots off. Kind of feels that Diego has now found a build where he says, alright, it's just going to be tank, bio, Viking. Because it feels that your entire game relies on the 1st and 2nd Colossus keeping you alive. If I can disable those with my Raven, I will be fine. And I should be able to send this to a game 4. I hope we get a game 4. I obviously don't like cheering against people from Basilisk, but in the Big Brain Bouts, especially on such a fun Big Brain Bouts here on the Friday night, where the first 3 series were excellent, I hope we get to at least see a game 4. Well, nothing would happen to D-Garbage, but that is also not going to happen, because Team Roddy did not qualify for Code, unfortunately. Thank you, Foucault's. Honestly, I think you can ban that guy. He's being weird. But I digress. This time around, by the way, guys, we have a forge. I feel like this is the first forge in 3 games. There is an observer keeping an eye on this medevac. On the right side. It's a lot of bio that we're banking up at home. No third CC yet. We're also not going for Raven Harass. Kelazhur says, alright, enough with me trying to find some damage, do some multi-prong. Try to be flashy and fancy. I feel this is right here what I like to call the Big Gabriel approach. 7 minutes of not a whole lot. And then we make one terrifying big Terran push. 61 army supply. Does drop a third CC. Is he just not going to go for it? This would actually be a really good moment, I think, to attack, man. The Terran army at the moment is a lot bigger and a lot more powerful than the Protoss army. But maybe Diego is just very confident in his macro game. And maybe he thinks all he needs to do is to stabilize in 3 bases, get some Vikings out, get the upgrades going, and then just receive the inevitable trigger attack. But I don't know. This time around, our Canadian has played a lot more economic, right? Like, got a few more probes. We're at 62 probes. I think that's more than we had in game 2. That's definitely more than we had in game 1. And we've got a forge in the mix. And we drop a Templar Archives. And now Kelazhur is still going to move out with, well, a double drop basically, but we're not dropping. This is obviously not enough to battle the Colossus and stuff. Wikipedia says, oh yes, it's daylight savings weekend, right? Tomorrow or something? Tomorrow night between Saturday and Sunday? No, stalkers are here. Kelazhur will still go for it. And actually, Trigger is not paying attention. Trigger is still not... Oh, -9 probes, guys. That hurts so much. It's 8. -9 probes. 10. Unlucky. 1 below, 1 above. Honestly, that's very good, obviously, by Kelazhur, but I don't think that was supposed to happen. Trigger has like 10 plus stalkers in the main base, has an observer keeping track of the medevac. He lost it, guy. Yeah, I'm way off, guys. Where is that one guy in the chat? Show yourself. I guess that is actually nice, though, for... well, I know it doesn't matter. I thought maybe the time gets better for Trigger, but I guess it does not matter for him. At least it's nice for me. Because I'm just so used to it being like -6 to the East Coast, -9 to the West Coast, that this weird little 2-3 week period where suddenly it's -5 and -8, it doesn't feel right. There's a lot of zealots in the top right side for our Protoss, as the second Robo has been warped in as well. We're working on +1 armor too. Bit surprising that he goes +1 attack into +1 armor. It's not like the biggest of deals, and it kind of comes down to personal preference, but I kind of feel if you have this many Stalkers and this many Colossus, maybe just prioritizing +2 is better. And then once the second Forge comes online, that's when you can start working on your armor upgrades. Heads up, Roddy, 4-0. For France against the Netherlands. I mean, what can I say? Allez le bleu. My nation is just playing an amazing game here. I am French, guys. Je m'appelle Kevin. And sacre bleu. Those Dutchies had it coming. Too big of an ego after the World Cup. Today, I feel French. No, our flags are basically the same. Red, white, and blue. Let's go, baby. One Widow Mine gets picked off there, as there are a couple of units also dancing with one another in the top right side. If Kelazhur's approach, guys, was let's just go ahead and make it into the mid-game disruptor, Expulse gets picked off, and Kelazhur goes full cuckoo here. Nice force fields, though, by Trigger. But he still ends up losing the Immortal. Kelazhur can pick up units, drop to the other side. Marauder, big game! Oh, what a play, guys. What a play. That was sexy. Two armies with each other in the bottom side of the map as well. And as sexy as the micro was from Kelazhur on the top left side, This one goes a little bit worse. In the end, the Nova does blow up a few Zealots too, though. These two guys right now displaying Arkham mode against one another. And both sides apparently got an army they can control. We have a tiny drop. Proper tiny drop. 8 Marines getting unloaded. Obviously, like, it looks pretty... Ooh, okay, that's a good shot down there by Trigger. It is 4 base against soon to be 4 base. Attacking with Colossus Colossus Stalker into this many tanks, that's going to be very hard, man. Because all of those fights, guys, they happened without the tanks. They happened without the Raven. If Trigger ever wants to attack here, he definitely needs to go before the Planetary Fortress is done, but... I don't know, maybe cause some chaos with Zealots in the 3rd and then main army in the center of the map. That's a decent amount of Zealots, and I was wondering if that was good enough, but our Canadian boy decides against it, and it's like, you know what? Let's just go for some of these nice late game Protoss upgrades. We get a Shadow Stride, and we're gonna warp in our first few DTs. There's a DT in the main base. I don't even know how this DT got into the main. Maybe he just warped in a single DT at first, and he's like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and see if this can get something done. Then it did get something done as we land a double feedback on a single ghost. This is definitely a bit stressful for Kelazhur. Tournament live, well, tournament, best of 5 live on the line. DTs in the natural, DTs in the main base. Oh yeah, these DTs are finding some good damage. That was a Nova that went forward, I believe. The SCVs, guys. At least the E-Bays are still alive. I mean, this is a lot of damage, and apparently it's not over yet. Kelazhur is absolutely struggling with these Dark Templars, man. For a guy who's got like 6 or 7 missile turrets, those DTs did a lot of damage. Nova, who could have gone for the Ghost, did not go for the Ghost. In the end, it doesn't really connect. But Kelazhur is still rich. Like, Terrans on 4 bases are just rich. And he's done alright overall throughout the trades, because it's actually Trigger who has lost a little bit more. 8.1 against 7.3. I like the sensor tower in the center of the map. Can't believe I'm saying that. Well, it's because I'm cheering for Game 4, guys. 126 army supply against 113 indeed. If Terran starts losing a few SCVs, once they are getting close to maxed out, they've got good upgrades, it's not necessarily bad. This Terran army is devastating. And there's only, oh my god, 10 Disruptors. Yeah, that's pretty devastating too. But there are still a lot of tanks in the mix. We can't forget about that. There are some Zealots coming in. I think Kelazhur just killed his own rich Vespian, guys. Which actually, he doesn't have that much gas. The tanks are getting paranoid, guys. They've seen DTs coming in from every angle. They know a lot of balls are flying forward. As Kelazhur is forced to cancel that command center. Stressful game. Down 0-2 in the best of 5. Can the Raven or the DTs, or the Ghost rather, reveal these Dark Templars? The answer is no. So this is starting to look like it could be a potential game deciding fight. Tank positioning, very important. DTs finding damage. We need to siege up the tanks, and Kelazhur needs big EMPs here, guys. No, I don't know about the Disruptors. That's 3 Novas, not getting a whole lot done. Trigger definitely finding even more SCV damage on the other side of the map. Yeah, that's nice and all, but we'll talk more about... Okay, now he's just gonna full send it. There's still a planetary. These Dark Templars finding good damage. A couple of Vikings misread right now. We have a Dark Templar slicing up the army here. This is something that also we need to start scanning, or we need to drop some EMPs. Those throw down a scan. Good old-fashioned base trade here, guys. That is maybe the one way to put... Oh, Zealous getting on top of tanks. I want to say that's maybe the one way to do something about all these tanks. Just never fight them. That is +3 armor denied. That's obviously a big cancel. Then Disruptors, guys. Kelazhur, are we paying attention? He avoids the first one. Nice pickup there in the end, but that's still the end of the majority of his tanks. Now he's going to pick up all these bio units and drop it on top of the Disruptors, and Trigger's army is coming home. The supply is actually still favoring Kelazhur, but obviously a lot of it is in Vikings. Raven goes down without getting much done. DTs will clean up everything, and in the end it's mostly Medivacs and Vikings that make it out. Kelazhur lost his center base. Trigger is very rich, guys. He's got this base up and running. He's got this one. So I would say in the end this was a big old victory for the Canadian Protoss. He even still has 7 Disruptors alive. There's an observer here, mate. Kelazhur needs... Okay, this is nice for the Vikings. They get one Colossus. That's obviously big. Did he get both Robos? Yes. He did not get the Dark Shrine. Did not get the Robo Bay. Obviously, killing both Robos is pretty big. I mean, Kelazhur is going to need to control his army like an absolute French god. As we have a couple of EMPs landing over the Protoss army. There are still a few tanks in the mix. A single tank in the mix. It's a big Zealot run by into the third base. This time around we did leave some bio behind. Armies flooding with each other. A lot of DTs, guys. A lot of DTs. They blink. They will get some really good swipes off. The Novas fly forward and they blew up a couple of Protoss units. But they blew up way more Terran units. And just like that, guys. Our man makes a big statement. He said, Roddy, it took you 22 weeks to get me into a main event. It was second match or third match or second match or third match. And after 22 weeks, finally it was time for a main event. And he gets revenge on the Brazilian Terran that defeated him in this very same tournament series. Friday Night Video Gaming 5 weeks ago. 3-2 back then in favor of Kelazhur. This time around, it was all Canada, baby. Basilisk Trigger gets the 3-0 clean sweep. Kelazhur sends me a message. He said he's sorry for the games. He said he wasn't feeling too hot. Nothing to be sorry about. Obviously, 3-0s are not what we hoped for, but since this Basilisk Big Brain Bouts lasted for almost 5 hours, 4 best of 5s, very little downtime. If there was ever a moment for a 3-0, I would almost say that this was an acceptable moment. And the games are still exciting. That final game in particular was very exciting. I think game 1, Kelazhur was actually winning if it wasn't for the MVP observer. Yeah, it is what it is, right? Maybe these are like the tiny things where if Kelazhur is sitting on like his main setup, he's slightly better at spotting out observers than he is while playing from Bulgaria. I don't know how different his setup is, but I do think that a 3-0 does not necessarily tell the entire story. I still had fun, and I'm very happy for Trigger, who just shows us that he is getting better and better. It's a cliche. It's something that casters use all the time to talk about almost any random player at any given moment, but I think it truly applies to that beautiful Canadian man. I really enjoyed that, guys. After the Pies penalty.
My balls are burning.
Yo, let's go.
Till my Wi-Fi.
2-3 we wilt teeny. THX Kev or Alice Strijster. GLHF Tots Breeks. Also I don't remember the title, but there is a video of Rotterdam and one other dude staring in a video with 2 random girls in a Justin Bieber song. Now remind me what it was. Calais K.
Yes, there is a video out there indeed of Roddy participating in a Justin Bieber video. That is correct. An interview possible. It is possible, but I am not 100% sure. We can maybe do like a tiny interview with Trigger. If he's down for it, I'm down for it. After that, I will show you guys the statues one more time, since every single time you guys see them, you guys want to see them up close. So we can do that first. Thanks to Basilisk for the 10 additional subs. And more importantly, obviously, for allowing me to run another edition of the Big Brain Bouts. Next Friday, guys, is a bit of a special Friday. And I won't even necessarily tell you why. But I expect something rather big on this channel and maybe another channel too next Friday. We're going to do our best. But there will definitely be StarCraft. And maybe there will be a lot more StarCraft even. Trigger says, you know me, Roddy. I'm always down. All right, mate. If you're down, then I'm down. We can go ahead and do a tiny interview. First, we're going to settle the prediction. Wow, 60% of you guys believed that our Canadian was going to get the job done. And he did. Kudos. Complete the prediction. So what I'm going to do, guys, is take a very tiny break. Allows me to recover for 2-3 minutes. Then we'll give our man from Basilisk a call. We'll have a little chitty chat about the games. And of course about upcoming week, WTL qualifiers. And yeah, then I'll show you guys the statues. And then I'm going to wrap it up. Because we have probably another long day tomorrow. And then we'll definitely have a long day on Sunday. Roddy, what was the video called? You meet you. I am not ashamed of my youth sins, okay? If you guys want to see them, there you go. If you guys want to see Roddy starting a video with 217k views, I've got the link. I'm not afraid of it. It's great times. I cannot play it right now because obviously I want to save this VOD. But thank you, mate, for the 23 bucks. I really appreciate it. And obviously celebrating the final victory. I'm down for that too. I noticed that Pokemon Unbox. Yeah, mate, there's a new set coming out. All right, guys, tiny break. Then I'll come back. We'll do a little interview. Then I show you guys the statues. And then it's been freaking enough Roddy for today because I'm also tired. And I'm very hungry. See you guys in a few minutes. Bum, bum, bum. Double check on my side. Hello, hello, amigo.
Hello.
Hello, I can hear you. I can see you. Everything is perfect. Congrats, mate. After 22 weeks, main event for the first time. I think it's safe to say you passed the test with flying colors.
Yeah, I just felt really on point today, and I did a lot of warm up. So yeah, it was. I don't know. I just feel like I was playing super well today for some reason.
Yeah, I definitely think you played very well. I do think in the first game, I mean, obviously you force your luck with having an observer in the correct position, but it actually felt that the first 5, 6, 7 minutes, almost everything went well for him, right? You couldn't quite catch the medevac, you couldn't quite catch the Raven, you were bleeding out some stalkers. Game 1 was not a walk in the park until he loaded up those 4 medevacs.
Yeah, well, actually, I feel like I was doing okay in the early mid game. Like he did all these moves, but I also didn't take much damage to the mine drop, and I felt like it was an okay position for me, and I actually thought I was winning, to be honest. And so I just went for the attack, and yeah, I got lucky, but
I think if you watch that back, you'd be like, okay, maybe it wasn't going that well. Because I actually think it was looking pretty good for him. You obviously had no Forge either. Your economy was worse than his economy. You did have the Colossus, and that's obviously great. But if he has the tank and the mines there, I think normally it would be very hard for you to get the job done there.
yeah, definitely possible. I also accidentally built a 4th Colossus instead of Prism, so that doesn't help. So.
I see. But yeah, obviously you were very decisive once you saw the opportunity. You went for it. Well, interesting to hear that you had a slightly different experience in game 1 than the way I saw it. Game 2 on Babylon. I felt that one did go a lot cleaner for you and did go a bit better. Got a bit scary once he stimmed into the 3rd base. You obviously lost a couple probes there, but it's a pretty committed attack by him, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like normally on like, if I was like playing a normal ladder game, I would be like panicking from that move and I'll feel like I was behind, but I just pulled my probes and not panicked and blinked micro well. And even if you lose like 10 probes, you somehow like it's still fine because he has no tech.
Yep, and obviously you went for it with the sentries. Force fields were on point. At one moment I was like, maybe 1-1 Marauders, Marines. But yeah, the force fields, they just kept being perfect. And as you said, you were playing very well today. Final game, I think definitely the most exciting game for a lot of the viewers out there. And I really enjoyed that game as well. Talk to me about it, because I think it's safe to say that at one point all hell broke loose there.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a desperation play from him. Usually Kelazhur is really good when you let him do his double prong, like he starts pulling you apart from different places. But if you shut that down immediately, at that point he just has to camp. And I guess he felt like he was losing, so he just went for a YOLO move. And yeah, I mean, I could have punished that harder, like by meeting him in the middle, but I didn't think he would go for something like that. So I was caught off guard a bit, but ultimately that kind of move just is too slow, especially without that many siege tanks.
Still a great call by you to go for the counterattack initially, because if you would try to force the issue and push your luck into that many tanks, I think it'd be hard for you to win the fight right there and then, right?
Yeah, I had like 10 disruptors, which is way too many, especially against that many siege tanks. Like my disruptors would disappear before they even fired. So yeah, that was the only choice, I think.
Yeah, no, it was an excellent choice, and obviously you did a great job, but also pulling back at the right time, not truly like fully embracing the all-out base trade where you lose all your infrastructure. I think bringing it back and then still being able to land a couple Novas while he wasn't quite sieged up yet in your main base. I honestly think, like you said, you played very well today, and getting revenge on the guy that defeated you 3-2 5 weeks ago, that's gotta feel good too, right? Where there's that sense of progress that you're always looking for as a player.
Yeah, I do feel like he was a little bit off than usual in terms of just like paying attention to certain things. So maybe that it's very late for him, and he's on a new setup apparently, so that might have factored in. But still, I feel like I've made a lot of improvements to my decision making, especially. So
Yeah, no, I think there were a couple of moments where it was hard for you to make the correct decisions, but you kept on finding a way to victory. So I definitely think you can pat yourself on the back for that. And yes, he is not playing from home. Normally he plays from Tilburg. He's in Bulgaria at the moment, but he has been playing a lot of games over the last few days. So it's not like he just found a random PC bang and sat down and played for the first time. I think Diego knew what he signed up for, and I think he was confident going into it, but you proved him wrong. That's a good way to get ready for our big week, isn't it, Trigger?
Yeah, it's very exciting. Also, yeah, a lot of pressure on me, but I believe in my team for the World Team League, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think. Like I've never played a team league like this before, especially on such a big scale. So it's gonna be exciting.
Monday, the Platinum Heroes. Couple of very familiar faces on that team. Obviously, Goblin is in there. Hate Me. I think DNS and Shadan are in there as well. What do you think of the Platinum Heroes?
Oh, I mean, they have a lot of decent players, but I feel like when we got players like Sarah and Rainer and myself, like I feel pretty confident. So, but they are good players. You can't underestimate them.
No, for sure. I'm excited for it. I think we have a very fun week of StarCraft ahead of us. Is there anything else you would like to share with me, mate?
Yes, I have my sub tournament, which you nicely agreed to cast with me, and you're gonna play in a show match with Indy after it.
With Indy.
Wait. Well, I asked Pig. I think he's on vacation or something.
Ah, Pig is just afraid of me, mate. So when is this happening? When is the sub tournament happening? And when is the show? So you got me. Oh my goodness, mate! I'm giving you these fun matchups, PVTs, and all that jazz, and you give me a PvP show match.
Well, to be fair, I saw you beat Max Pax and Crater in a game. I was like, you can take Indy then, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I have agreed to this. We may have to check this one. We'll figure out. What time is our sub tournament starting on Sunday?
It's either gonna be 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. EST.
Okay.
But I haven't decided what the better time is. But yeah, it will be fun.
Is there any other info that maybe somebody in the chat right now is like, oh, sub tournament sounds fun. Like, what are the terms and conditions for people to sign up and participate?
Well, as long as you're sub to me, you can sign up, and that includes gifted subs. So if you hang around my channel, you might get gifted one. And you can't be a pro player, of course, because this is for my community and for the amateur players. So if you've ever been above 6,000 MMR in the last 12 months, you just can't sign up, and that includes off racing. So
6K MMR in the last 12 months. That is not eligible. Everything else is completely fine.
That's right.
All right. And channel obviously is trigger_ZC. All right, guys, there you have it. Fun little community tournament on the Sunday, provided by Trigger. I'll be covering quite a few of the games. How does it work, mate? Are we going to duo cast, or is it just you cover games and I cover games, and eventually we sync up and cast a couple games together? What's the plan?
Well, I think at first we should separate just to get as many cast as many games as possible. But then, like semifinals, I think we should cast those together.
Awesome. Is it single limb or double limb?
Oh, definitely single limb.
Okay, all right, man. I look forward to it. Look forward to casting a couple games together. And I look forward to see which tryhards are now lurking in the shadow and be like, could be a good investment. Sub to Trigger for a month and see if we can play a little tournament on Sunday. And how strict are you? Like, how can you actually check whoever has been 6K MMR in the last 12 months? Like, how do you make sure?
I feel like I know everyone who has been 6K above at this point.
Okay.
Like I know all those. I know all semi-pro players, and also like just there are like 6K like pretty good players in the tournament, but there's prizes for everyone. And, like if you're Gold League and you place the highest out of anyone in Gold League, you also get a reward for that. So everyone in the community has a chance at making some money. So
that's actually super wholesome. So all the Gold League players, Platinum League players, Diamond League players are basically duking it out with one another too, because whoever gets the furthest will also walk away with something.
Yeah, that's right.
Ah, that's a super cool idea. That's very awesome, very wholesome. I love it, mate. That sounds like a fun time. So Sunday, guys, either at noon or 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll be live on my channel too. We'll be covering some of the games, and I'll if I have some more info for you guys tomorrow, even on the Sunday afternoon, if I go live a little bit earlier than the tournament starts, I'll gladly let you guys know. Sounds cool. All right. I guess that's all for today, mate. It's been a long day for me. I am a very hungry man. I have to celebrate my
Yeah.
country winning 4-0 today as well. So I think I'm ready to wrap it up. Any final words before I let you go?
Just a big shout out to Basilisk as always for hosting this and just supporting me and everyone on the team, of course. They're just super friendly and super nice people. So love Basilisk, and yeah, that's it for me.
Awesome, mate. Congrats on the big dub today. You have now truly established yourself as a main event guy. No more co-main events for Trigger. Main event it is from here on out. Noted. Next up, Big Gabe, mate.
Really?
Down the line,
Okay,
right? Sounds
we'll
like a
try.
fun
I'll
one
try
to
it.
me. Big Gabe loves punishing greedy Protosses. You can definitely qualify as a greedy Protoss. I think could be a good best of 5.
I'm definitely a greedy Protoss according to Gabe, so
Yeah, and don't go
I'm
Sentry first. He gets very upset if you do that. I've seen.
I've done it before against him. He's like, this is so bad from him. What is he doing?
All right, mate. Congrats on the win, and thank you so much for taking your time to have a little chitty chat with us. And obviously, let's go Monday.
Yeah. All right. See ya. Bye.
Bye bye.